do these $15, 1000 rupee cheap third-party phone coolers actually work? Hey guys, Ash here, and in a recent video we saw what kind of difference something like the Aero Active Cooler 6 makes to performance on a smartphone. We've been seeing these kind of coolers from other brands too, but they are usually available only for gaming focused smartphones. Now for the rest of us, we are gonna have to make do with these third-party coolers if they actually did work. Now, when I look at something like this, I'd usually dismiss them as, hey, useless gimmick. But then again, I heard from a friend that they were getting good results with these, so I decided I had to check it out for myself. Now, some phones typically do have bad thermal management. If you've come across one of those, if there is a phone that you've used that had a lot of heating or throttling issues, let me know in the comments. Now, anyways, to test this out, I need a few things, one of which is, barring the cooler of course, one of which is a phone that had bad thermals, and for that I chose the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV, a beautiful phone with amazing cameras that also happens to throttle like crazy. Real life examples, I was on a live stream once and the selfie camera shut down in about 15 minutes due to overheating. Another time I had multiple apps update in the background and the refresh rate immediately dropped to 60 because throttling. And of course you can see how the CPU throttle test worked out. Now to be clear, the Xperia 1 Mark IV doesn't get hot, it just throttles very quickly. For example, one of the best phones for sustained performance right now is the ROG Phone 6. And even this has spots where the temps hit 46-47 degrees Celsius. Now that's not bad, that's considered acceptable. One spot getting hot does not make the phone uncomfortable. The Sony on the other hand, it starts throttling at 40. This thermal camera footage was captured after the CPU throttle test, and as you can see, 40 is pretty much the max it hits. Well, that was the CPU I showed you getting pushed with the CPU throttle test. What really gets stressed when gaming is the GPU. So to establish a proper baseline, we need to push the GPU, and for that I decided to run 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, the stress test, 20 loops of the phone's GPU being pushed to the max. By the end of this, we have a stability score of 47.3%. That means from the first run to the 20th, the performance dropped by more than half. This is interesting. You know why? I'm going off on a tangent right now a little bit, but hear me out. When brands showcase their benchmark scores, they always talk about single run numbers. Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 versus say Dimensity 8100 is no comparison, right? And wise it's 1 million versus 790,000. That is what we technically see when we are looking at phones. But here's the deal. On a phone with better thermal management, something like say the GT Neo 3, after about half an hour of gaming, the performance, it's gonna be better than on a badly thermal managed phone like the Xperia 1 Mark IV. And that's just sad, right? Now just see this, after 20 loops of the same test, the GT Neo 3 at that point was running 10% better than the phone that is the Xperia 1 Mark IV, the one with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 here. Anyways, can third-party coolers actually help? Well, I went on ahead and plugged this in. Of course, coolers like this need to be externally powered, and the moment you turn it on, the cooler starts getting cold, and that is a good sign, isn't it? So let's rerun the test. And the stability, it's gone up. Who knew? The cheap $15 cooler actually works. And that's impressive. Now, when I removed it, I saw the back was about 10 degrees colder than the last time around. So it actually seems to be doing a stellar job. And for the Xperia, 62% is a little more acceptable. Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, yes, it has its issues. After 30 minutes of being pushed, it starts to perform like a device one class lower, which is what we've come to expect. The 20th run score of 1595 versus Dimensity 8100's first run score of 1481, that's actually not bad when compared to what we were getting. Now, one thing that kind of bothered me was that there is a gap between the cooler and the phone's back. So what if we reduce that? Would that improve performance? So I went on ahead and added a thermal pad. Now, of course, this isn't something you're gonna do in your day-to-day, but I was curious. Now, you can see there is no space in between anymore. That spot's gonna have heat more effectively transferred, more efficiently transferred, or so I think. That said, let's rerun the test. No huge gains, just 1.5% better stability. In my opinion, not worth the hassle. Now, does this mean external coolers are worth it? Can't answer that just yet. You know why? Because what we just saw was a worst case scenario. A phone where the thermals are pretty much messed up. But what if you have a regular phone with decent thermal management? Would this cooler still benefit you? Now remember, earlier we saw the GT Neo 3 scores that had something like 86% stability. Now rerunning it with the cooler on got us to 88%, which is pretty much within typical variance with regards to what it varies from run to run. So can't really read much into it. I tried it with a couple of other phones, not Xiaomi, because Xiaomi does not allow 3D Mark to run on their phones. My first idea for this video was to actually feature the Xiaomi 12 Pro and not the Xperia, because a lot more people have easier access to the 12 Pro. But anyways, the results are that the cooler does work, but unless your phone has pretty messed up thermals, like with the Xperia we saw here, or say the Xiaomi 12 Pro, you won't really be benefiting much from it. The cable having your phone effectively tethered to a power source because of it doesn't seem to be worth the gains you get with regular phones. But if you do run into a phone that throttles a bit too much and still want a game on it, then this could be an option to help you tide over till whenever it is that you decide to upgrade. Anyways guys, that's been it for this quick video. What do you think? Do you see yourself getting a cooler like this? Would you find any use for it? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about this video. Subscribe if you feel like it. Hit that bell if you want to do a good deed for the day. Until next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.